If you're like me, your first thought on hearing this question was, "That's ridiculous. There's no way that could work." Your first thought is right. But just to be sure, let's take a closer look. Grip strength depends on a lot of factors, like hand slickness and surface material. But for the moment, let's assume Rex's hands are able to grab the pole tightly. What happens to the rest of his body? It's hard to find good numbers on how much force it takes to tear off a person's arm. 1. There are threads on the question on Metafilter and the straight dope message boards, and frequent discussion of the death of Robert Francois Damiens. 2, but not too much hard data. For the record, there are lots of studies and lectures on the breaking strength of tendons, which tend to give values of around 50 to 150 MPa. That's stronger than skin, 27 MPa, but weaker than bone, 120 MPa. However, to figure out the overall strength of the arm, we need to tally up all the tendons, muscles, and tissues in the wrist, arm, and shoulder, their cross-sectional area, and figure out which parts will be put under strain in what order. Instead, it might be easier to consider people who try to pull off this maneuver in real life. Gymnasts. A gymnast on the uneven parallel bars pushes a human body to its limits while performing maneuvers very similar to Rex's flagpole stunt. 2009 study used 3D motion capture to measure the forces involved in an elite gymnast routine. They found that the athlete's hands exerted a force of over 3 knots on the bar at the bottom of a swing. In other words, the gymnast was briefly supporting almost 700 pounds of weight. Let's be generous and assume that Rex is even better than the elite gymnast in the study. After all, the gymnast has to worry about long-term injury, while Rex's concerns are a lot more short-term. Suppose Rex's arms can handle a swing force of over 10 knots, 3 times more than the gymnast, and twice as much as these guys. How will he do? Let's see how much force Rex needs to withstand. The tallest building in town here in Boston is the 240-meter-tall Hancock Tower. If he jumped off the top, he'd be going nearly 100 miles per hour by the time he was halfway down. At that speed, the force on his arms, speed squared over the radius of his turn 4, would be around 100 knots. Really, the numbers are just telling us what common sense told us from the start. You can't grab hold of something while going 100 miles per hour, much less swing around it. If you want to get a more vivid, intuitive sense of the forces involved, consider this. In 2006, GQ put baseball star Albert Pujols in a lab and measured his swing. They clocked the speed of his bat at 87 miles per hour, similar to the speed of the flagpole relative to our falling person. So if you want to pull off Rex's stunt, first go find Albert Pujols, have him swing his bat as hard as you can, and try to grab it. And remember, you're just trying to stop the momentum of a 31-ounce piece of wood. When you're falling past the flagpole, you're going to be catching your whole body, so it's going to be up to 100 times worse. Good luck.